Mr. Burke is Berserk. Chapter 7, Gold Fever. Gold, shouted Ryan. Gold, shouted Michael. Gold, shouted Neil the Nude Kid. Gold, I shouted. In case you're wondering, we were all shouting gold. Kids from every corner of the playground came running over to see what was going on. Mr. Burke found gold. Mr. Burke found gold. Mr. Burke found gold. Just in case you're wondering, lots of kids were talking about how Mr. Burke found gold. Everybody crowded around him as he held up the chunk of gold. Well, I'll be dogged, Mr. Burke said. My great-grandpappy lived here yonder back in 48, and he told me there was a heap of gold left in the ground after a big gold rush ended, and I reckon it was right here. Mrs. Jaffe came running out of the playground. What's all the fuss about? She asked. Mr. Burke found a piece of gold where the monkey bars used to be, I told her. I always figured there was gold down there, he said, but I couldn't get at it on account of them dang monkey bars. Is it okay with y'all if I do a little more digging out here? You betcha, said Miss Jaffe. Dig, baby, dig. Our reading specialist, Mr. Mackey, came running out of the school. He was pushing a wheelbarrow. Did somebody say gold? He asked, all excited. Where'd you get a wheelbarrow? Ryan asked Mr. Mackey. From Rent a Wheelbarrow, said Mr. Mackey. You can rent anything. Suddenly, other teachers came running out of the school. Miss Coco, Miss Holly, Mr. Docker, Miss Small, all of them. They were wearing overalls and miners' helmets, and some of them were carrying pickaxes, shovels, and pans. I guess they rented them. Yeehaw, they were all shouting. Gold! Don't you have classes to teach? Asked Andrea. Classes, shouted our librarian, Miss Ruby. Who cares about classes? There's gold in them there hills. And I'm a-fixin' to fetch me some of that dag-a-bit, said our speech teacher, Miss Lady. Yeehaw, shouted Mr. Granite. Why is everybody suddenly talking like it's the Wild West? I asked. 'Cause we got the gold fever, young feller, said Mr. Mackey. It drives a man crazy, I tell you, crazy. I'm crazier than a run-over coon, shouted our health teacher, Miss Sleeky. I'm crazier than a popcorn on a hot stove, shouted Mr. Granite. Yeehaw, shouted Miss Coco. Grown-ups are weird. The teachers started digging holes all over the place and saying words I never heard, like tarnation and varmint and ornery. Me and the other kids were just watching them. At least it was better than going to class. I found me a nugget, y'all, Miss Holly shouted. Yeehaw! A chicken nugget? I asked. No, a gold nugget. That's funny. I always thought nuggets came from chickens. We all gathered around to look at Miss Holly's nugget. Look at the way it shines, she said. That there nugget is as purty as a snake on stilts, said Miss Ruby. I reckon this may be the biggest gold strike in over 100 years, said Mr. Burke. The teachers let out a big yeehaw and started digging all over the place with even more excitement. I found one too, shouted Miss Small. So did I, said Mr. Granite. They were all uncovering gold, and that's when a big black car pulled to the playground, and you'll never believe who got out. It was Mayor Hubble, and he was coming over. Suddenly, all the teachers stopped digging. Mayor Hubble was staring at the teachers. The teachers were staring at Mayor Hubble. The kids were staring at the teachers and Mayor Hubble. Everybody was staring at each other. You could hear a pin drop. Not really, but that's what everybody says when it's quiet, and nobody knows why. I was sure Mayor Hubble was going to tell them to stop digging and go back to class, but he didn't. Dig, he hollered. Keep digging.